The vast expanse of space had always held secrets, but none quite as explosive as the humans of Earth as the Galactic Confederacy's scout ship Nexus Seeker dropped out of faster-than-light travel on the fringes of the System. Captain Zal of the Volary species felt a mix of excitement and trepidation coursing through his gelatinous form. Scanners detect multiple artificial structures on the third planet, and its satellite reported science officer Ixel have translucent appendages dancing over the holographic controls, primitive propulsion technology, but extensive colonization of that orbital space. Zarek's central life pulsed with interest. Fascinating, they've managed to establish a presence beyond their home world without achieving FTL travel. Most unusual, the bridge of the Nexus Seeker hummed with activity as the crew prepared for humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. None of them could have predicted the chain of events their arrival would set in motion. Captain called out communications officer, Vex's antenna twitching nervously. We're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. Audio and visual. Zarek's gelatinous form rippled with anticipation on screen. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the human female with dark skin and close-cropped hair. She wore a crisp uniform adorned with insignias that the ship's AI quickly identified as military in nature. Unknown vessel. This is General Amera Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourself and state your purpose. Immediately, Zarek was taken aback by the forceful tone, but composed himself quickly. Greetings, General Chen. I am Captain Zarek of the Galactic Confederacy scout ship Nexus Seeker. We come in peace, seeking to establish first contact with your species. General Chen's expression remained impassive, but her eyes narrowed slightly. Captain Zarek, while we appreciate your peaceful intentions, your unannounced arrival has put our planet on high alert. We request that you maintain your current position. While we consult with our world leaders, of course, General, we will comply with your request. Zarek responded, trying to project an aura of calm authority. As the transmission ended, the bridge erupted into excited chatter. First contact specialist, Luma, a bioluminescent Aryan, floated forward. Captain, their response seems unusually guarded for a species encountering alien life for the first time. Perhaps we should approach this situation with extra caution. Zala's form rippled in agreement. Indeed, Lumi, their military readiness is concerning Ixel. What can you tell me about their defensive capabilities? The science officer's appendages danced over her console, once more primitive by our standards, Captain, but not insignificant. They possess nuclear weapons, kinetic strike platforms in orbit, and a sizable fleet of armed spacecraft. However, their weapons would be largely ineffective against our shields. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Zarek mused. Vex, open a channel to Galactic Confederacy High Command. They'll want to know about this development. Immediately, as the hours ticked by, tension aboard the Nexus Seeker grew. The humans had maintained radio silence since the initial contact, and long-range scanners showed increased activity around their planet and its satellite. Captain Vex called out suddenly, we're receiving another transmission from the surface. The view screen flickered to life once more, this time showing a diverse group of humans seated around a large table. At the center sat a distinguished-looking man with silver hair and piercing blue eyes. Greetings, Captain Zarek. I am President Alexander Novak of the United Earth Government. We apologize for the delay in our response. As you can imagine, your arrival has caused quite a stir on our world. Zal Central Eye pulsed with relief. Thank you for contacting U.S. President and Novak. We understand the magnitude of this moment and are eager to begin peaceful dialogue between our civilizations. NOC nodded, his expression grave. We share your desire for peace, Captain. However, we must prioritize the safety and sovereignty of Earth. We have some concerns we like to address before proceeding further. Of course, Zarek replied, his gelatinous form undulating slightly. We are here to answer any questions you may have. Very well, Novik continued. First and foremost, we need assurances that your presence here is not a prelude to invasion or colonization. Earth has a long history of conflict, and we've learned to be cautious. Zarek form rippled with surprise. I assure you, President Novak, we Have no such intentions. The Galactic Confederacy is founded on principles of peaceful cooperation and mutual benefit. We seek only to welcome new species into our interstellar community. Novik's eyes narrowed slightly, and yet you arrived. Unannounced in a ship clearly capable of overwhelming our defenses, surely you can understand our hesitation. The implications of the human's words sent a shudder through Zark's gelatinous body. He realized too late that their approach standard procedure for first contact with pre-full civilizations had been perceived as a potential threat. President Novak, I apologize for any distress we may have caused. Our intention was to observe briefly before making contact to ensure we did not disrupt your society. We meant no disrespect to your sovereignty. The human leader's expression softened slightly, but wariness remained in his eyes. We appreciate your explanation, Captain. However, we must insist on a more formal declaration of your intentions. We propose a face-to-face meeting on new neutral ground, our International Space Station. Would you be willing to send a small delegation to meet with our representatives? Zarek conferred briefly with his crew before responding. We would be honored. President Novak, please provide us with the necessary coordinates, and we will prepare a shuttle. As the transmission ended, Zarek turned to his crew. This situation is more delicate than we anticipated. Lumi, you'll accompany me to the space station. Ixel, I want you to continue analyzing their defenses discreetly. Something tells me we may need that information. As the Nexus Seeker shuttle approached the International Space Station, Zarek couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The humans' reaction to their arrival had been far from the wonder and excitement they usually encountered. Instead, they had found a species hardened by conflict and deeply suspicious of outsiders. Little did Zarek know that this first tent encounter was merely the opening act in a drama that would reshape the galaxy and force every spacefaring race to reassess their understanding of one fundamental truth: when humans get angry, you run. The shuttle docked with a soft thud, and as the airlock cycled open, Zarek steeled himself for whatever challenges lay ahead. The fate of two civilizations, and perhaps the entire Galactic Confederacy, now rested on his gelatina shoulders. The Galactic Council's ultimatum. The meeting aboard the International Space Station had not gone as Captain Zarek had hoped. Despite his best efforts to convey the Galactic Confederacy's peaceful intentions, the human representatives remained skeptical and guarded. Their questions were pointed, their demeanor tense, and their eyes constantly watchful. As Zarek's shuttle docked with the Nexus Seeker, he felt a weight pressing down on his gelatin form. First contact specialist Lumi floated beside him, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with concern. Captain, Lumi said softly, I fear we may have critically misunderstood the human psyche. Their history of conflict has left deep scars. They view our presence not as an opportunity but as a potential threat. Zarek's central eye dimmed with worry. I agree, Lumi. We need to report this to High Command immediately. The situation is far more volatile than we anticipated. As they entered the bridge, the crew's anticipation was palpable. Science Officer Ixel approached, her translucent appendages twisting nervously. Captain, during your absence, we detected increased activity in Earth's orbital defenses. They activated several dormant satellites and are moving their fleet into defensive positions. Zarek form rippled with alarm. Open a channel to High Command. Priority Alpha. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the stern visage of High Counselor Vexia, her crystalline form glittering under the lights of the Confederacy's central chamber. Captain Zarek, her voice resonated with authority. Your report is most disturbing. A species as paranoid and militaristic could pose a significant threat if they were to achieve faster than light travel. Zarek's central eye pulsed anxiously. High Counselor, with all due respect, I believe we can still establish peaceful relations. The humans are cautious, yes, but not unreasonable. Given time is a luxury we cannot afford. Captain Balia interrupted. The Galactic Council has convened and reached a decision. We cannot risk allowing such a volatile species to join the interstellar community without assurances. A sense of dread washed over Zarek. What are your orders? High Counselor Vex Alia's crystalline forms seemed to harden. You are to deliver an ultimatum to the humans. They must agree to join the Galactic Confederacy under our guidance and supervision. This will include the dismantling of their military forces and the sharing of all their technological advancements in return. They will receive our protection and access to Confederacy resources. Zala's gelatinous body quivered with shock. High Counselor, with all due respect, such demands will be seen as a threat to their sovereignty. It could provoke the very conflict we seek to avoid. Your concerns are noted. Captain Vex Solius' tone was unyielding, but the decision has been made. The humans have 48 Earth hours to comply. If they refuse, you are to commence orbital bombardment of their military installations. We cannot allow a potentially hostile species to retain the capacity to threaten Confed-I interests. As the transmission ended, a heavy silence fell over the bridge. Zar-Lok turned to his crew, seeing his own disbelief and concern mirrored in their expressions. Vex Zarek addressed his communications officer. Open a channel to President Novik. We need to deliver this ultimatum, but perhaps we can find a way to make them understand the gravity of the situation. The next 2 hours were among the most tense of Zala's long career. President Novak and his advisors listened to the Confederacy's demands with growing anger and disbelief. This is outrageous. Novik's voice moved through the comm channel. You come to our system, uninvited, claim to seek peaceful relations, and then demand our complete surrender. This is not diplomacy, Captain Zarek. This is imperialism. Zal form undulated with distress. Please understand, President Novak, I do not agree with these demands, but I am bound by my duty. The Confederacy fears the potential threat your species could pose. Potential threat? General Chen interjected, her eyes blazing. You're the ones threatening us with orbital bombardment. We've done nothing but defend our home. You have 48 hours to reconsider. Zarek said, his voice heavy with regret. I urge you to comply. The alternative would be devastating. As the transmission cut off, Zarek turned to his crew. Prepare for all contingencies. I fear we may have just ignited a powder cake. The next 2 days passed in a blur of frantic activity. The humans made no further attempts at communication, but long-range scanners showed a flurry of movement around Earth and its colonies on Mars and the Moon. Captain Ixel reported as the deadline approached, were detecting unusual energy signatures from the planet's surface and orbital installations. It appears they're activating some kind of previously undetected defense network. Zarek's central eye pulsed with a mix of dread and admiration. Even in the face of overwhelming odds the humans were preparing to fight, have they made any attempts to evacuate their population centers? Eel's appendages danced over her console. Negative, Captain. In fact, we're seeing increased activity in major cities. It's as if they're rallying as the final minutes ticked away. The bridge of the Nexus Seeker was silent, the crew watching the beautiful blue planet with a mixture of awe and trepidation. Suddenly the comm system crackled to life. President Novik's face appeared on the view screen, his expression resolute. Captain Zarek, I speak now on behalf of not just Earth, but all of humanity. We have considered your him, and we have made our decision. Novik paused, his eyes blazing with determination. We do not bow to threats. We do not surrender our freedom. If you want our world, you'll have to take it from us. Before Zarek could respond, the transmission cut off. Moments later, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple launches detected. Ixel shouted, energy readings are off the charts. Zarek watched in stunned silence as thousands of points of light erupted from Earth's surface, streaking towards the Nexus Seeker and a Confederacy fleet that had arrived to support the ultimatum. Impossible, Lumi whispered, her bioluminescence flickering with shock. Their technology shouldn't be capable of this. As the first wave of human weapons impacted the Confederacy ships, rocking them with unexpected force, Zal realized the terrible mistake they had made. They had pushed a species known for its tenacity and ingenuity into a corner, and now they were about to learn why. Across the galaxy, those who knew better had a saying: when humans get angry, run. The battle that would reshape the balance of power in the galaxy had begun, and humanity had no intention of going quietly into the night. Humanity's unexpected response: the space around Earth erupted into chaos as humanity's response to the Galactic Confederacy's ultimatum unfolded. Captain Zarek watched in stunned disbelief as waves of advanced weaponry he hadn't thought possible for the humans to possess slammed into the Confederacy fleet. Shields at 60%, and dropping shouted the Nexus Seeker's defense officer, his exoskeleton clicking nervously, "Captain, these weapons, they're like nothing we've ever encountered." Zala's gelatinous form rippled with a mixture of fear and awe. Evasive maneuvers, all ships fall back to regroup as the Confederacy fleet struggled to respond to the unexpected onslaught. The true extent of humanity's preparedness became clear. What had appeared to be simple satellites suddenly transformed, unfolding into heavily armed battle stations. The moon's surface cracked open, revealing massive cannons that began firing salvos of energy pulses that tore through the Confederacy ships like paper by the void. Lumi whispered, her bioluminescence pulsing erratically. "They were ready for us all this time. They were ready." On the main view screen, President Novik's face appeared once more, his eyes blazing with a fire that sent shivers through every member of the Nexus Seeker crew. "You thought us primitive," Novik's voice boomed, filled with a mixture of anger and pride. "You thought us easy prey. But humanity has been preparing for this day for centuries. We've survived world wars, overcome global disasters, and united our planet. Did you really think we wouldn't be ready for threats from beyond the stars?" As if to punctuate his words, a massive vessel emerged from behind Mars, dwarfing even the largest Confederacy ships. Its hull gleamed with an otherworldly metal, and energy crackled along its surface in patterns that defied the laws of physics. As Zorak understood them, "Impossible." Ixal muttered, her appendages dancing frantically over her console. "Captain, that ship, it's generating a localized field that's warping spacetime itself." Zarek's central eye widened in shock. "They've mastered gravity manipulation, but how their technology was nowhere near this advanced." "You pushed us, alien." Novik continued, his voice carrying a hint of grim satisfaction. "You threatened our home, our freedom, our very existence, and in doing so you've awoken a sleeping giant. Humanity will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight." As Novak spoke, the massive human vessel unleashed a weapon that seemed to bend reality itself. A wave of distorted space washed over the Confederacy fleet, causing ships to crumple and implode as if crushed by an invisible hand. "All ships, full retreat." Zar Lark ordered, his voice trembling. "We've gravely underestimated the humans. We need to regroup and reassess." As the remnants of the once mighty Confederacy fleet flood from the Sol system, the true scope of humanity's response became clear. It wasn't just about defending Earth. Humanity was taking the fight to the stars. Long-range sensors detected human ships emerging from hidden bases throughout their solar system, their engines flaring with impossible energy. As they gave chase to the retreating Confederacy forces, Captain Vex called out, his Anna twitching with alarm. "We're receiving reports from across Confederacy space. Human ships are appearing in multiple systems, attacking our outposts and colonies." Zala's form quivered with disbelief. "That's not possible. They couldn't have developed FTL technology so quickly. It appears they've had it all along." Sir Ixal interjected, her voice filled with awe and terror. "The energy signatures match the anomalies we detected during their initial defense. They've been hiding their true capabilities, waiting for a moment like this." As the Nexus Seeker limped away from the battlefield, Zarek realized the terrible truth. The Galactic Confederacy, in its arrogance, had not only threatened a species far more advanced than they had realized, but had also given that species a reason to unleash its full might upon the galaxy. Reports flooded in from across Confederacy space, human ships, utilizing technologies that seemed to defy the very laws of physics, was striking with surgical precision. They targeted military installations and shipyards, crippling the Confederacy's ability to respond while largely avoiding civilian casualties. "They're not out for vengeance," Lumi observed, her voice filled with a mix of relief and apprehension. "They're dismantling our military capabilities, but they're showing restraint." Zarek's central eye pulsed with a glimmer of hope. Perhaps despite the Confederacy's grievous error, there was still a chance for peace. As the Nexus Seeker approached the Confederacy's capital world, a transmission cut through the chaos. It was High Counselor Vexia, her crystalline form flickering with barely contained panic. "Captain Zarek, the situation is dire. The humans have breached our deepest defenses. They're demanding an audience with the full Galactic Council. We have no choice but to comply." Zarek felt a mix of dread and anticipation wash over him. "Understood, High Counselor. We're en route to the capital now. Perhaps there's still a chance to salvage this situation as the battered Nexus Seeker limped into orbit around the Confederacy's gleaming capital world. Zarlok couldn't help but marvel at the human ships that now patrolled a system. Their designs were unlike anything he had ever seen, a perfect blend of art and devastatingly efficient function. A new transmission crackled to life and President Mick's face appeared once more on the view screen. But this time his expression was not one of anger or triumph, but of sullen determination. Captain Zarek Novik began, his voice steady and resolute. Your ship will escort our diplomatic vessel to the surface. It's time we had a real conversation about the future of galactic relations. As Zarek acknowledged the order, he realized that the galaxy, as he knew it, had changed forever. The humans, a species they had dismissed as primitive, had not only repelled their attack, but had brought the mighty Galactic Confederacy to its knees. In a matter of days, the next few hours would determine the fate of countless worlds and species, and as Zlak prepared to face the consequences of the Confederacy's actions, one thought echoed through his mind: when humans get angry, you don't just run, you pray. They'll show mercy. The true test of humanity's character was about to begin. The battle that shook the stars, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, once a symbol of unity and cosmic diplomacy, now stood as a testament to the folly of underestimating humanity. Captain Zala's gelatinous form quivered with a mixture of awe and trepidation as he watched the human delegation enter. President Novak led the group, flanked by General Chen and a diverse array of human experts. Their faces were stern, but their eyes held a spark of curiosity that belied their recent show of force. High Counselor Vexia, crystalline form, seemed to have lost some of its luster as she addressed the assembly. Esteemed representatives of Earth, we welcome you to the Galactic Council. We humbly request to open negotiations. But negotiations? General Chen interrupted, her voice sharp. You threatened our planet with annihilation. You demanded our surrender, and now you want to negotiate? A ripple of unease passed through the alien delegates. Zarlak noticed several species he'd never seen cower in fear at the humans' tone. Word of humanity's unexpected might had spread quickly. President Novak raised a hand, calming his general. We are here to talk, High Counselor. But let's be clear, this isn't a negotiation between equals. You sought to subjugate us. We've demonstrated that we will not be subjugated. The galaxy's balance of power has shifted. As if to emphasize this point, a holographic display flickered to life in the center of the chamber. It showed real-time footage of human ships dismantling Confederacy military installations across multiple star systems. Impossible, muttered a multi-med delegate from a species Zarek didn't recognize. They've mastered quantum entanglement communication on a galactic scale. Novik continued, his voice firm, but not unkind. We could have destroyed you. We had the power to do so. But that is not our way. Humanity has learned from its own bloody history. We seek cooperation, not domination. A murmur of surprise rippled through the chamber. Zarlok felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps the humans were not the warmongering species they had feared. We propose a new galactic order, Novik declared, one based on mutual respect and shared progress. The Galactic Confederacy will be dissolved. In its place, we will establish the Interstellar Alliance of Free Peoples. The chamber erupted into chaos. Some delegates protested VL, while others seemed intrigued by the idea. Zarlak watched in fascination as the humans calmly weathered the storm of alien emotions. General Chen stepped forward, her presence immediately silencing the room. Let me be clear, this is not a request. You've seen what we're capable of. We could impose our will by force. Instead, we're offering you a chance to be part of something greater. As the implications of her words sank in, Zarek noticed a shift in the room's atmosphere. Fear was giving way to a grudging respect, and in some cases, outright admiration. One by one, representatives from various species stepped forward to pledge their support for the new alliance. Even those who had initially protested seemed to realize the futility of resistance. High Counselor of Excelia, her crystalline form dimmed with humility, addressed the humans. We accept your proposal, President Novak. The Galactic Confederacy hereby dissolves itself. We place our trust in humanity's vision for a better future. As the formalities of establishing the new Interstellar Alliance began, Zarek found himself approached by Lumi, the bioluminescent Aryan Captain. Lumi whispered, her patterns pulsing with excitement. "I've been observing the humans closely, their emotional range, their capacity for both righteous anger and forgiveness. It's unlike anything I've ever seen." Zal's central eye focused on the human delegation, now deep in discussion with representatives from a dozen different species. "Indeed, Lumi, I believe we've witnessed the birth of a new era in galactic history. As the day wore on, the true scope of humanity's vision became clear. They proposed joint scientific ventures, cultural exchange programs, and a mutual defense package that would ensure the safety of all member species. But it was their approach to technology that truly astounded the galactic community. Instead of hoarding their advanced knowledge, the humans offered to share it with safeguards to prevent its misuse. We believe that progress should lift all boats," explained Dev Ava Patel, Earth's leading genetic technologist. "Our goal is to elevate every species to create a galactic community where we can all thrive together." As Zarek listened to the human impassioned speech, he felt a sense of shame for how quickly the Confederacy had judged them. These were not the actions of a warmongering species, but of one that had learned hard lessons from its own history. The day's proceedings were drawing to a close when an alarm shattered the atmosphere of cautious optimism. A young human burst into the chamber, his face pale with urgency. "Must President, we've detected a massive energy surge at the edge of the galaxy. Something's coming, something big." The chamber erupted into panic, but President Novik's voice cut through the chaos. "Everyone remain calm, General Chen. Deploy our forces. It's time to show the galaxy what the Interstellar Alliance can do when we stand united as the newly formed Alliance." Scrambled to face this unknown threat. Zarek realized that the battle that had shook the stars was perhaps just the beginning. The true of humanity's leadership and the strength of this fledgling alliance was yet to come. The galaxy held its breath as humanity prepared to face its first challenge as the defenders of a united interstellar civilization. The message was clear: when humans get angry, you run, but when humans extend a hand in friendship, you grasp it tightly and never let go. A new era of interstellar relations. The Grand Chamber of the newly formed Interstellar Alliance, once filled with a tense atmosphere of negotiations, now buzzed with frantic activity. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing a massive anomaly at the edge of the galaxy, a swirling vortex of dark energy that seemed to defy the laws of physics. President Novak stood at the center of the storm, his face a mask of determination. All Alliance ships moved to defensive positions. "This is not a drill. We face an unknown threat, and we will face it together." Captain Zarek watched in awe as human commanders coordinated with alien fleet captains, their recent animosity forgotten in the face of a common enemy. The efficiency and adaptability of the humans continued to astonish him. Captain Lum's bioluminescent patterns pulsed urgently. "The humans are requesting our assistance. They want the Nexus Seeker to join their front line." Zarlak's gelatin form rippled with a mix of fear and resolve. "Then that's where we'll be. It's time we proved our worth to this new alliance." As the combined fleet of the Interstellar Alliance took up positions, the dark energy vortex pulsed ominously. Suddenly, massive ships began to emerge, biomechanical monstrosities that seemed to absorb light itself by the void. Whispered Ixal, her appendages trembling. "Those ships, they're like nothing we've ever encountered. Our weapons may be useless against them." General Chen's voice crackled over the comm system, steady and resolute. "All ships, hold your positions. Earth Defense Force, prepare to deploy." The Horizon Protocol, a hushed silence, fell over the Alliance fleet as they watched a squadron of human ships move into formation. Energy began to build around them, creating a web of iridescent light that connected each vessel. "What they doing?" Zarek wondered aloud, his central eye fixed on the spectacle. As if an answer, the lead human ship fired a beam of pure energy into the heart of the enemy fleet. The beam was instantly amplified and redirected by each ship in the formation, creating a cascading effect that ripped through spacetime itself. The result was devastating. The biomechanical ships twisted and warped, some imploding, while others were torn apart by the fabric of reality itself in a matter of moments. Half of the invading fleet had been reduced to cosmic dust. Cheers erupted across the Alliance channels. But the battle was far from over. The remaining enemy ships regrouped, adapting to the human attack with terrifying speed. All ships engage at will. President Novik's voice mooned across the comms, show them the strength of our unity. What followed was a battle that would be remembered for generations to come. Human ingenuity combined with alien technologies in ways never before imagined. The Nexus Seeker found itself fighting alongside ships it had faced as enemies mere days ago, its sensors and shields augmented by human quantum technology. Zarak watched in awe as a Volary cruiser, its weapons depleted, sacrificed itself to protect a human destroyer. The destroyer, in turn, unleashed a barrage that crippled 3 enemy ships. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the invaders, while powerful, lacked the adaptability and spirit of the Alliance forces. One by one, the biomechanical ships fell to the combined might of the United Galaxy. Hours later, as the last enemy ship crumbled under a combined assault from human and Aryan forces, a deafening cheer echoed across the battlefield. The Interstellar Alliance had faced its first test and emerged victorious. In the aftermath of the battle, as ships limped back to the Alliance's capital world for repairs, Zarak found himself summoned to a meeting with President Novak and the other key figures of the Alliance. The mood in the room was somber, yet hopeful. Faces that had been set in grim determination during the battle now showed signs of cautious optimism. My friends, Novik began, his voice tired, filled with pride. Today, we have witnessed the birth of a true galactic community. We faced an enemy that threatened not just one world or one species, but all of us, and we prevailed. High Counselor Vexia, her crystalline form glowing with renewed vigor, spoke next. President Novak, on behalf of all the former Confederacy worlds, I extend our deepest gratitude. You could have conquered us, yet you chose to unite us. We pledge our full support to this alliance and to the vision of a better future for all species. Zarak felt a swell of emotion as representatives from dozens of species echoed Vexia's sentiments. The galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the heart of that change. Captain Zarak Novak addressed him directly, a warm smile on his face. Your actions today have proven that the spirit of cooperation can overcome even the deepest of misunderstandings. We would be honored if you would accept a position as one of the Alliance's chief diplomatic officers. Zala's gelatinous form rippled with surprise and gratitude. The honor would be mine, President Novak. I pledge to serve the Alliance and its ideals to the best of my abilities. As the meeting concluded and plans were made to study the remnants of the invading force, Zarak found himself reflecting on the whirlwind of events that had led to this moment. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson: when humans get angry, you run. But when humans extend a hand in friendship and unite for a common cause, you stand with them, for there is no force in the universe that can stand against such a union. The Nexus Seeker, once a harbinger of conflict, now stood as a symbol of this new era. As Zarak gazed out at the bustling activity of the Alliance's capital world, he felt a sense of hope and excitement for the future. The age of isolation and fear was over. A new chapter in Gal-IC history had begun, written by the combined efforts of all sentient species with humanity holding the pen. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, as if in approval of this new cosmic order, and somewhere out there in the vast expanse of space, other threats might be lurking, but Zorlak knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, the Interstellar Alliance, born from conflict but forged in unity, would face them together. The galaxy had learned to respect humanity's anger, but now it would thrive under humanity's leadership, and that Zarak realized was the greatest adventure of all.